you know, and I, I'm sorry. I know Libby's a main character or whatever the case. Yeah, but Libby also even knows that she was dead wrong in her situation. I mean, not to get on some, male versus female stuff, but if roles were reversed and there's a husband who's like, hey, my female friend that I've known since college, she's going through some things, after the divorce. I'm gonna just kick it over there for a few days and see what's good. Like, in that case, in this situation, like Libby ain't even give a heads up. She just no call, no show for like 3 or 4 days, or whatever. Just didn't come back home for like a few days, and it's like you can't blame Adam for asking questions like, "Yo, are you sleeping with Toby? Like, what the hell's going on?" Like, all that is more than reasonable to ask. Hey, what's going on, folks? Another episode of Ryan Reviews Everything, formerly known as Just My Opinion with Ryan. And damn it, man, we're going to talk about the finale of Fleishman is in Trouble. And I thought it was a great finale, man. Things wrapped up so nicely in this first season. If I'm not mistaken, I think they said it was a limited series, but the way it ended, they at least got to give us a second season. And yeah, so if you don't know by now, there will be some spoiler alerts here and there, so just as a heads up. But so let's just get it started, man. I really enjoy how the last couple episodes literally just pick up right where they left off. We see Libby immediately make a beeline to Toby's apartment, tells him, "Hey, I saw Rachel. This is what's going on with Rachel." And then after all of that, Toby still ain't give a damn. He was just like, he had no compassion or sympathy towards Rachel, which I'm not saying he's wrong. I mean, she was kind of nasty to him during the marriage, and he still had to make a lot of adjustments from this unfortunate nervous breakdown that she had. So actually throughout this episode, I was surprised that there wasn't any interaction at all between Toby and Rachel. I thought this would have been an episode where we actually saw, them actually talk ever since the breakdown or whatever the case is. So, and that's actually another reason why there's plenty of ammunition for a season 2. We can now, get like, what's the dialogue like now that Rachel has, came back into the apartment. If you saw at the very end, she opens the door just like the book that Libby was kind of, brainstorming in her head. And then the show literally goes off. So that's enough ammunition right there. You could definitely see that although Libby was feeling sorry for Rachel and showed compassion, she definitely was taken aback that Toby still ain't give a damn about what Rachel was going through. And I think that's kind of like the scary message. Like, I really do think, I do think there was like several, just breathtaking, or hard-hitting themes. One of them being just highlighting how hard marriage can be and how marriage can change somebody. And that's another lesson we see throughout this finale. This actually, in my opinion, it kind of shows how Toby kind of grew. I think they used the word cold-hearted, but yeah, I wouldn't say cold-hearted, but he kind of grew a little, little more hard-nosed, a little more, I guess, tougher in a sense. Like, yeah, and therefore, which is why he still ain't give a damn what Rachel was going through. He didn't like cry when the patient died, who was on life support. I mean, granted, he definitely, showed some regret for snapping on the husband, but other than that, like, he doesn't have that same emotion. And I think, some, unhealthy marriages can bring out the worst in you, or just change you in a sense. And of course, I really think the meat and potatoes in this episode was, of course, what Libby was going through with her husband, Adam. and I, I'm sorry. I know Libby's a main character or whatever the case. Yeah, but Libby also even knows that she was dead wrong in her situation. I mean, not to get on some, male versus female stuff, but if roles are reversed and there's a husband who's like, hey, my female friend that I've known since college, she's going through some things, after the divorce. Um, I'm gonna just kick it over there for a few days and see what's good. Like, in that case, in this situation, like Libby ain't even give a heads up. She just no call, no show for like 3 or 4 days, or whatever. Just didn't come back home for like a few days, and it's like you can't blame Adam for asking questions like, "Yo, are you sleeping with Toby? Like, what the hell's going on?" Like, all that is more than reasonable to ask. It's like you just. But anyway, I know I'm ranting and raving. But yeah, there's no way I could try to sympathize with Libby and understand where Libby is coming from. Another telltale sign in this episode, Libby was throughout this season, talking about how miserable she was, and she feels like something about her is getting lost in this marriage and this and the third. And the whole time I'm like just looking, I'm like, well, it sounds like she's just miserable being a housewife, which I can understand if you're used to, working or having some type of, having something to do that you have a passion for, and all you do every day, all day is just wake up and be a housewife. Yeah, that could be miserable for you if that's not what you're trying to do, and I really felt like, the answer was simply just, why don't you either get a job at like another magazine company or write a book, which she said she was going to do, but for whatever reason or another, she just didn't get around to it. I think it was the episode where she met Christian Slater, who played Archer, and was talking about how it's so male dominated at her job and this and the third. But nevertheless, when she got fired or let go, she said, you know what, I'm gonna write my book. And I felt like it's similar to like when you say you're gonna work out, and then you're like, I'm gonna work out tomorrow, and then tomorrow comes and it's like, I'm gonna start next week. You keep procrastinating until you look up and it's like a year's gone by and you haven't picked up a barbell, or in Libby's case, a year or a couple years go by and you haven't even came up with the title for your book you want to write. So I feel like that's really what it was. And you see at the end, she clearly says she's just going to write a book. Yeah, man, I thought this was very, very well done. And of course Seth got married, or not married, got engaged and proposed, and I thought that was a funny exchange. Like when it was just Seth and Libby, they're both like, "Oh, what an idiot! This is such a dumb move." But of course, when he's like, "Do y'all think I made a dumb decision?" They're like, "Of course you didn't." That was pretty funny. But yeah, man. Just going back to Libby. Yeah, man. She was just dead wrong with it. And I really would love to see season 2, because there's so many ways you can go with it. You can see how the conversation goes with Toby and Rachel. You can see how things are picking up in the terms of Adam and Libby's relationship, and also the director has been so creative and the writers have been so creative with this series. They can even in season 2 show, okay, what was Adam going through while Libby was just gone, just with no warning at all for like 3 or 4 days. Like, those are things that they could definitely throw in when it comes to season 2. Like I said, I know limited series doesn't always mean just limiting it to one series or just one season, but I really hope that they at least give us a season 2, just because there's so many different ways to go with. And yeah, man, I'm really surprised that we didn't see a lot of dialogue between Rachel and Toby in this finale. And then there was one thing I really thought that was very, very telling. I really feel like if you're married for X amount of years, I really feel like this show really specifically reaches out and touches you. Like I said, I think one of the main themes that I really appreciated this finale covering was how marriage can change you. And you can really see all this type of emotions and phases and so forth that Libby, appeared to go through. So this was pretty wild. I really appreciated this season. I'm hoping for a season 2. The ratings were definitely so good. I'm sure we will get a renewal if everyone, that's part of the show wants to do a second season. And yeah, I really thought this was great, man. I can't wait to see what you all think about this video. Hey, wasn't I missing anything else? No, we definitely covered Libby and that. Yeah, just once again, just going that far without calling and notifying your husband about what's going on is wild. Because vice versa, I'm sure I know I would have came home to divorce papers. I'm just not going to show up, no call, no nothing for 3 days. But that's another thing as well. It's like it didn't seem as if there was no indication as if Adam had called and reached out to Libby to see if Libby was okay. I'm not sure if that's kind of a loophole or not, or maybe something that wasn't a detail that wasn't necessarily covered. But anyway, those are just my thoughts on this review. Let me know what you guys think. Peace.